Clear as crystal it flows, and from your throne it goes.
Now, before we go to Matthew 1, there's some things we just need to understand. In the beginning, God took the Israelites out of Egypt, and he wanted to make them all priests, which means he wanted to have a relationship with them, but they didn't. They wanted the law. So God gave them the law. Now, God wanted to give them a grand covenant, saying that he would bless them. There's nothing they need to do, they just need to receive it. So in the Old Testament, there were only two recipients of the grand covenant. It was Abraham and it was David. Both of them were promised a son. Abraham would be the father of many, and God would bless them who bless him, curse them who curse him. And David would have a son who would be on the throne forever, also pointing to Jesus. So with the birth of Jesus, both of these prophecies would be fulfilled. Now you would think, why not Moses? Why wasn't Moses in the genealogy? Because the Abrahamic covenant and the Davidic covenant were the only two covenants that had promises that would be fulfilled in the future. The Mosaic covenant was a temporary agreement. It was for that time period, and it involved cursing for disobedience and blessings for obedience. And when Jesus came, there was a new covenant made. When he was sitting at the Last Supper, he said, "This is the new covenant that I make with you." The genealogy of Jesus Christ starts in Matthew at his birth. That is why they have the genealogy. Also in Luke. Luke also has the genealogy. Now the book of Mark and John don't have the genealogies because it starts with Jesus being an adult already. Matthew provides this lineage to show us that Jesus was not symbolic, that he was flesh and blood. As the farmers promised him, he came from the Davidic kingship. Now, Matthew's genealogy of Jesus is very interesting. In the genealogy, there are 4 women named. Now, this is not custom for Jews to name women in genealogy. At that time, women didn't really account too much. And as a rabbi said, you could divorce them if they burnt your breakfast. But here 4 women are named. It's Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba. Now what makes it more interesting is all 4 of them were Gentiles, and they were guilty of some sort of sexual sin. You would think if a woman would be named, it would have been Sarah. But they were all Gentiles, showing Jesus not only came for the Jews, he came for the Gentiles too. And he came to save us from our sin. Genealogies established your right to kingship, your right to priesthood, and your tribal identity. The birth of Jesus. Just like in Genesis, when the Holy Spirit was moving, God spoke. Now here, the Holy Spirit moved on Mary, and Jesus was conceived. Joseph found out about this. He was a pious man, and he was thinking of maybe divorcing her in secret. While he was considering this, an angel of the Lord came to him and told him to not be afraid to take Mary. He that is to be born of her was of the Holy Spirit. Joseph arose, took Mary as his wife, and they went forth. Mary had her firstborn son, and she called him Jesus.